Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 4 verses 1 till 7. A certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Elisha, saying, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your husband feared the Lord. And the creditor is coming to take my 2 sons to be his slaves. So the situation is as follows. Yet one of the sons of the prophet, so he was associated with the prophets because his father was a prophet. But there's no indication he himself was a prophet, but he was one of the sons of the prophets. So he benefited from the anointing that was on his father. But look what happened. He passed away before his time. He left behind his wife and 2 sons, and they were dead. Now, this should not have happened this way. And that is the danger when you lean on the anointing of someone else. There's nothing wrong with others supporting you and you supporting others, but you should not lean on the anointing of someone else. Never lean on the anointing nor the blessing of someone else. Because when attacks are on you, you need to be covered and you need to operate in the blessing. So this man passed away. His wife and 2 sons were left, and there was a creditor, someone he owed money to, that decided, okay, your husband passed away, he can't pay, so I want to take your 2 sons away as payment. Such things happened during those times, which was an unfair and unjust situation because those sons were not the ones owing any money. But that's how it often goes in this world. Often the parents have negativity to haunt them and people blame the children. Now when it comes to financial debt, this doesn't happen in the world because the law would say, not going to happen. Unless there's inheritance and the child who is of age accepts the inheritance plus the debts. But anyway, the rule in the world is when the parents are negatively charged, people will blame the children. So what happened there? The woman, the widow, had no idea what to do. So she went to the man of God. And what did she do? She explained the situation and she was open for solutions. So what happened next? So verse 2, so Elisha says to her, What shall I do for you? Tell me what you have in the house. And she answers, Your maidservant has nothing in house but a jar of oil. So look at that. The husband passed away, there were debts, and the house was almost empty. Just a jar of oil was left. Olive oil was quite important in that time. You could use it for lamps. You could use it to polish shields. You could use it for various other stuff. It was also used as soap in some areas together with dirt. But okay, so just a jar of oil. Look at this. The prophet did not say, what don't you have in house? His question was, what do you have in house? And that is a shift in her thinking. She was focused on what she didn't have. The prophet asked, what do you have? And that is what needs to happen with us too. We need to change our focus from what we don't have, because then we're operating out of lack and need to be focused on what we do have. So we're operating from abundance. It doesn't matter what's on your bank account. Your attitude should be an abundance mindset. So the woman did not resist the abundance mindset. She got along with it. And this is what the prophet said. Then he said, Go borrow vessels from everywhere, from all your neighbors. Empty vessels. Do not gather just a few. And when you have come in, you shall shut the door behind you and your sons, then pour it into all those vessels and set aside the full ones. So I'll continue reading. So she went from him, that's the prophet, and shut the door behind her and her sons, who brought the vessels to her. So her children cooperated with the solution. That's a good thing. And she poured it out. So she had this jar of oil and she began to pour it into those empty vessels. And supernaturally, the jar of oil did not stop pouring. Now it came to pass, when the vessels were full, Then she said to her son, bring me another vessel. Then he said to her, there is not another vessel. So the oil ceased. So look at that. It's when there was no vessel left that the oil stopped flowing. Then she came and told the man of God. So she reported the miracle. And he said, go sell the oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons live on the rest. So there was a need that was dealt with as the creditor coming to take away the son. So that was solved. But more was dealt with. She used to be in lack. Now she was in abundance. You and your sons lived on the rest. So there was so much income that they didn't even have to work anymore. Look at that. They were in poverty, a fatherless household, and now they were economically relevant. Christ wants us to be economically relevant. But look at this. Her mindset had to change. What do you have in the house? And look at the second thing he told her that's very important. You shall shut the door behind you. So when she's active in faith, she should shut the door behind her. And this is something many of you need to hear. Some of you want to walk by faith and the door is still open. The door to poverty, the door to sickness, the door to resentment, the door to bitterness, the door to toxic relationships. You have so many doors that need to be shut, and you don't even realize that those doors are open. Listen to what I'm saying here. Your mindset needs to change. You ought to be renewed in your mind. You ought to have an abundance mindset. And while you have an abundance mindset, you should act on it. And when you act on it, some people need to go. If someone refuses to have an abundance mindset, or if they are faking having an abundance mindset just to get attention from you or just to use you, then end that relationship. Immediately end it. You don't need such people around you. You shouldn't even want to be around someone like that. God always wants you to end up economically relevant. So, have an abundance mindset. God will not always tell you how things will work out. You just need to trust Him. So, do you have an abundance mindset? If you do, shut the door behind you. Some of you have relatives that keep calling you. There's nothing wrong with being on good terms with your relatives, but some of you have relatives that never seek solutions. They're only focused on dumping their frustrations. They just want to dump together with you, and then they're all relieved, and then they go back home. And the same thing happens over and over again. They're not interested in solutions. Why do you keep allowing them to call you? Some of you are doing your best to keep in touch with people that only want to take from you. They appreciate you making the effort to remain in touch with them, but you don't notice that they never do the same for you. Why? Because they're lazy and they're self-centered. They just want to benefit from you and from others, but they don't want to actually take action themselves. But they do expect things to work out. So they have this narcissistic way of thinking. Why are you still investing in those people? Shut the door behind you. Yes, shut the door behind you. Yes, the door is behind you. Shut it. Be at peace.